Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. Yesterday, we have discussed about the dominance of Congress Party in the first three general election as well as state elections. And now we will continue our discussion. And under this, we will know about some other smaller parties such as Socialist Party. One of the party which was there before the independence, it was Socialist Party. It its origin can be traced back to the mass movement stage of the Indian National Congress in the pre-independence era when India was under the British rule. At that time, the mass movement were so many mass movements were taking place under the leadership of Indian National Congress, and in during that period only this Socialist Party was created, and this Socialist Party was not a independent political party. It was formed within the Congress Party. So, party within a party. It's a unique system which was prevailing in during that time, that a party was existing within a party. So, it was named the Congress Socialist Party because it was not existing independently, but it was within the Congress Party. Okay, and the year was 1934. And who were the founder of this party? The founder of this party were the young leaders, uh, and these leaders were inspired by the idea of equality and egalitarian society. And in this regard, um, egalitarian means uh, equality only. Okay, the society which is based on the principle of equality, that is called egalitarian. So in 1948, what happened after getting independence? Now the Congress amended its constitution, and it amended it in such a way that now its members cannot have dual party membership. So, in a way, it by amending its constitution, the Congress has made it illegal to have a party within a party. So, the parties like Congress Socialist Party uh, was cannot be existed like that. It was existing in that time. So the socialist form a separate socialist party in 1948 because now it became illegal for any members to have dual party membership. So there cannot be a party within a party. So socialist, whatever young socialist leaders were there who formed this Congress Socialist Party, they form a separate socialist party. Okay, and the party's electoral performance was very bad, and it caused very disappointment to its supporter. And as we have discussed all these things, because of first past the post system, the smaller parties are at a disadvantageous position. Though we see that the Socialist Party, it was present in most of the states of India. It's not that it was not able to gain the vote share. Vote share was good, and it has its presence in most of the states of India. But it could not win the mm, seats as was expected. So now we will discuss the ideology of socialist leaders, the leaders who formed this socialist party. So we will discuss the ideology of the socialist thinkers. Uh, they believed in the ideology of democratic socialism. Democratic socialism means the goal is to achieve socialism. The goal is to achieve equality. The goal is to achieve the equal distribution of resources. The goal is to achieve narrowing the gap between the rich and the poor. Okay, but in order to achieve these goals, the path should be democratic. By democratic means only the socialist goals should be achieved. This was the ideology of socialist. Okay, so the goal is socialism and the path is democratic, because I told you yesterday also that communism or socialism both are almost same thing. In fact, we can say that communism is one step ahead of socialism. But you can say that both these words are synonyms. So communism and socialism are the concept which does not go with democracy. Democracy is different, and communism and socialism is different. They don't go together. And it is our experience. We have seen this happened in USSR, the same happened in China. So communism and democracy don't go together. So our socialist thinkers who created this party, they were of the opinion that democratic socialism should be the ideology of the party. Okay, so the goals which it wanted to achieve, the goals were socialistic goal, but the path was democratic. Okay, so in this way, it was not like Congress. It was neither like Congress nor like communist. It was different from both of them. It has its own ideology. They were not supporting Congress because Congress, after getting independence, the Congress favored the capitalists and the landlords, because so many land reforms were started by the government, but all these reforms and programs which were started for the poorer section of the society by the government, which was headed by which was the government of Congress Party. So all these efforts, all these reforms which were started by the government could not become successful, because from the very beginning we find that in the Congress Party there was favor for capitalists and landlords, and it ignored the interest of the workers and peasants, and uh, the Socialist Party criticized the Congress because of this. And but the condition of was also not good, because what happened in 1955, the Congress held its mm, session in Avadi, Madras, and at this Avadi session, Congress has declared its goal to be the socialist pattern of society. And this socialist pattern of society is same as democratic society, the democratic socialism. So when in 1955 the Congress declared its goal to be the socialist pattern of society, which was the same thing as we discussed democratic socialism. So now what happened? The socialist they faced a dilemma. Now what to do? जो उनकी आइडियोलॉजी थी, that ideology has been snatched from them and now it has become the ideology of the Congress. So they started losing their ideology and now they were not able to present themselves as an alternative to the Congress. Okay, because what is the role of the opposition party? Party was not in power, then obviously it was in the opposition. And what is the role of the opposition party? The role of the opposition party uh, mm, is to present itself before the people as an alternative to the ruling party. They criticize the government, they criticize the ruling party, uh, and present themselves as an option. Matlab, in the coming election, you can vote. You don't give your vote to the present ruling party. Give your precious vote to the party which is in opposition because we have more we have better ideology and we have better leadership. Okay, so they present an alternative to the ruling party. But now, when the Congress declared its goal as a socialist pattern of society, then what happened that the socialist leaders found it difficult to present themselves as an alternative to the Congress. And then what happened that some leaders in the leadership of the great leader Ram Manohar Lohia, they increased their distance from and criticism of the Congress party. Some other like Ashok Mehta advocated a limited cooperation with the Congress. So now what happened? What happened that now they were not finding that it is any uh, type of useful, any kind of utility in it by criticizing the Congress because the Congress has the same ideology as the Socialist Party. So many leaders advocated a limited cooperation. There should be cooperation with the Congress. Instead of opposing the government, they started talking of cooperation with the Congress. The Socialist Party went through many splits. After that, what happened? There were so many splits were there in the party, and then reunion and so many socialist parties were formed in country, and in this included Kisan Mazdoor Praja Party, the Praja Socialist Party, the Sanyukt Socialist Party. All these have originated from the Socialist Party only. Okay, and the important leaders of this Socialist Party were Jayaprakash Narayan, Achyut Patwardhan. This is very important. Okay, Jayaprakash Narayan, Achyut Patwardhan, Ashok Mehta, Acharya Narendra Dev, Ram Manohar Lohia, Asam Joshi were among the leaders of the Socialist Party. Many parties in contemporary India, like the Samajwadi Party, the Rashtriya Janata Dal, and Janata Dal Secular, hmm, Janata Dal United. All these have been originated from the Socialist Party only. कई बार ये बटे फिर उनका कोई पार्ट किसी से मिल गया ऐसे कर करके आज के समय तक जो डिफरेंट सोशलिस्ट पार्टी हमारे कंट्री में काम कर रही हैं समाजवादी पार्टी राष्ट्रीय जनता दल यूनाइटेड जनता दल सेक्युलर are all have their origin in this socialist party only. Okay, and you can see this is the symbol of the socialist party. ये एक it is a flaw. Now we will know something about Acharya Narendra Dev. Freedom fighter, he was a freedom fighter and he was the founding president of Congress Socialist Party. Okay, jailed several times during the freedom movement. He took part in the freedom movement very uh, on a very large scale, and because of this, he was jailed several times. He was active in peasants movement because they were the socialist and socialist worked for the poorer section of the society, so he was very active in peasants movement. He was a scholar of Buddhism, and after independence he led the Socialist Party. Then in 1948 the Socialist Party separated from Congress. It was only under the leadership of Acharya Narendra Dev. And later, when there was splits and reunions, then he led this Praja Socialist Party. Okay, so now we will discuss further nature of Congress dominance. We have seen that in the first three elections, Congress was holding the dominant position. Congress was able to win the three-fourth seats in all the three elections in at the center, and there was no one who can give a pose a challenge टू कांग्रेस क्योंकि जो सेकंड पोजीशन पे जो पार्टीज आ रही थी उनके पास इतने नॉमिनल मेंबर्स थे द नंबर ऑफ द मेंबर्स who were holding the second rank in the Lok Sabha election was so less, it was hardly one tenth of the membership of the Congress. So, in that situation, the Congress was in a very dominant position, not only in center but also in states. In almost all the states except Jammu Kashmir and Kerala, that was for 2 years, the Congress was able to form the government. So we know about this dominance. Now we will discuss about the nature of Congress dominance. What was the nature? How was the dominance of the Congress? Why was the dominance of the Congress? Okay, so we will see that India became independent. India adopted its own constitution. It implemented the constitution. By the constitution, the institutions were set up which were based on the principle of democracy, and every arrangement was done by the constitution for the setting up of a democratic government, and then the first general election held, and we find that in all the three general elections there was dominance of Congress. But here in this context, we must know that the countries which became independent after the Second World War, in most of the countries, we find that there was a dominance of a single party because almost all the countries, uh, in order to become free country, in order to get freedom from the colonial powers, almost all the countries underwent a mass movement, and this mass movement was done in the leadership of a political party. And after getting independence, what happened that this political party became the uh, single party which was able to grab the power through democratic election. And in many countries, uh, dictators also grew after getting independence. The situation was such that it gave rise to the dictators. So we find that, but here we are concerned only with one party dominance. Okay, so when we look around the world, we find many examples of one party dominance. And in this regard, we will see the example of this Mexico. Okay, how in Mexico there was a one party dominance. In India also there was one party dominance. In Mexico also there was one party dominance. But the nature of this one party dominance was completely different in the two countries. Okay, so we will discuss it later. Now we will see only that the in another countries where we see the single party dominance, it was ensured by compromising democracy. If there was dominance of single party in any country, we are talking about countries other than India. There was single party dominance in many countries, but this dominance was ensured by compromising democracy. In these countries, democracy was not real. Democracy was not meaningful. There were many countries like China, Cuba, Syria, where the constitution permits only single party to rule the country. So, what is this? This is the constitution has made provision for single party only. In our constitution, there is no such provision. Our constitution give us freedom to form any number of political parties. There is no limitation on the number of political parties. Okay, so this was not done by our country, but in many country, constitution has only arranged this single party dominance. And in this situation, when the constitution is permits only single party to rule the country, then in this situation there cannot be democracy. Then we see that there were some other countries like Myanmar, Belarus, Egypt, Eritrea, which are effectively one party states. Why? Because some legal and military measures were adopted in these countries, because of which the country, though it is not written in the constitution that the country will be ruled by only single party, but still the country became one party state. Okay, because some rules, some laws were made regarding this, or some military measures were done, and in this way, in spite of the fact that the constitution allows more than one party to exist, but In practice, there existed only one party. This was the case in Myanmar, Belarus, Egypt, and Eritrea. And then there were another countries also like Mexico, South Korea, Taiwan, which were effectively one party dominant states. But now the situation has changed. Few years ago, the condition of Mexico, South Korea, and Taiwan was that they were only one party dominant state. So we are seeing that in India also the Congress was winning three-fourth seats in all the central election and in all the states election. Congress was able to rule all the states except Kerala and Jammu Kashmir. So in India, this dominance of Congress was completely different because neither our constitution, there is no provision in our constitution that there will be only one party in the there will be only one party in the country. Neither in our country any legal measures or military measures were adopted in order to make one party dominant. Okay, so everything was democratic. Multi-party system was there. Elections were held in a free and fair manner. No, there was nothing unfair was done in the election, though unfair means may have been adopted in some places in some constituencies, but on a large scale, we can say that the election was completely democratic. It was completely free and fair. And still, what happened? That the Congress managed to win election after election, elections after election. So, this dominance of Congress was completely different from the one party dominance which was existing in China, Cuba, Syria, Myanmar, Belarus, Egypt, Eritrea, Mexico, South Korea, or Taiwan. And it is similar to only one country, and that was South Africa. In South Africa, when apartheid was there, you have read up all these things in the class ninth. Uh, and after this apartheid, because of this apartheid, the blacks in Africa suffered a lot. And when the country got independence under the leadership of Nelson Mandela, it adopted a new constitution which was based on the principle of equality, and the party of the Nelson Mandela was African National Congress, and that party also was holding the similar dominant position as Congress was holding in India, and the nature was also similar because both in India and in South Africa, this single party dominance was occurred in a democratic manner. Okay, so in the next class, we will continue our discussion on this topic. And for today, this is your class.